Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We are back on the dev server, and it's time to have a look at the Ghibli. This is actually not the first Ghibli that we have in the game. If you didn't know, the actual AMX-A1A over here is also called the Ghibli, so we now have multiple Ghiblis. This is a rank 5 battle rating 4.0 gunboat that you'll find in the coastal fleet for Italy. It's between the Gabbiano and also the Albatross, so they're actually not putting it after the Albatross, which I suppose is quite nice, but at the same time it's one of those that's going to be in a bit of a weird position because of that. It's at 4.0 and it's extremely limited in the armament that it has and also other features. First of all, the Ghibli has two main guns. It has a single mounted 100 right here, then it has a single mounted 100 right here. That's all you have. Nothing else. That's it. And then for secondaries, you have a bunch of Breda 20mm and also some Scotia Sotte Fraccini mod 1939s. But mainly these are your secondaries. So it does at least have some AA support. The Bredas are not very good, but at least there's something. So you're going to be mainly relying on your 100mm to do damage, but from an air point of view, the 20mm should do a little bit. Then it has some torpedoes. You have two on this side and then another two here. So only two per side and also in awkward mounts. The two single Scotties are actually at the back here that you can see here. So you might be asking yourself, why is this thing 4.0? That's a great question. I can't answer it because I don't understand why it's 4.0 either. If you compare this and then also like the early blue water vehicles, the blue water vehicles are just better than it in every way, but they're all lower BR. So yeah, work that one out. The Ghibli itself, for the 100mm, gets access to the HE. It also gets the APHE, which has 152mm of pen, which is quite nice for these guns, and then also a HETF version of the HE shell. For the 20mm, you can either use Universal, HE, or AP, and that is pretty much it for it. You can get a torpedo mode, which is quite nice, and that gives you access to 8-kilometer travel distance torpedoes, which isn't great, but it's not terrible for the BR that it's at, and then depth charges as well. So if you want exposed ammo racks, you can bring them along, and you can see that they're all actually layered all over the ship. So maybe that's what this vehicle's eventually going to be used for. Maybe it'll eventually be an anti-submarine vehicle when the submarines get added in the future, which was confirmed in a recent Q&A. But until then, this thing is completely worthless to play. Armor-wise, so it has 16mm on the hull and 4mm on the superstructure. This is pretty similar to a lot of destroyers that you see around this BR. And then also it has a little bit of armor on the major turrets. Then when you have a look at the other areas of it, it's got some big old engines in the center, some transmissions to power it. You also have the radio station and the bridge in the center here, and then a bunch of fuel tanks and just the ammo covering these two turrets. Now, the guns themselves, the 100mm, they don't even have a good fire rate, 8.3 rounds per minute, so you're looking at, what is that, like 8 seconds, 7 seconds per shot, when a lot of other things will be out reloading you, and once again have double, if not triple, the firepower that you are putting out. There is a real problem in War Thunder right now, and it's with vehicles like this. The gunboat, the Ghibli, but also stuff like the coastal machines in general. If you have a look at the Gabbiano, it has exactly the same problem as this. Then even the Albatross, which is in a better position but still has that problem. There is a bunch of these in the game. Stuff like the Leopard, for example, the Terra Nova, the Blackpool, all of these vehicles are these kind of like frigates slash gunboats, which all spawn at the destroyer spawn, but they're just worse versions of the destroyers that are at the same BR. So they don't really have a place in the game. They don't really work. There's not really a huge point in playing these things, apart from the fact that you want to grind through the tech tree and get to the high tiers of it. But at the end of the day, what's the point? Because you're just going to get blown out over and over and over again by destroyers, which cost absolutely nothing to research and absolutely nothing in terms of modifications. So what's the point? Like, I don't I don't understand. This is another one of those things that I just need somebody to sit me down and to explain to me what is the use of me putting in hours and hours and hours, you know, maybe even hundreds of hours to get a vehicle like this, or I can just play the Blue Water Tech Tree and get access to a vehicle straight away that will do more in a battle than this do in its whole existence while you're playing it. Now, the gun angles for the 100mm are quite nice. You can see the effectiveness of the breaders here, really doing well at taking out this one specific vehicle. It's taking them a while to work on this. It's down to 70%. You know, they'll get there eventually. They got the Beaufighter though. Well done. Fantastic. So the good thing about the 100mm though is if you are accurate with them, you can do a ton of damage to smaller machines like coastal machines, but you're not going to be facing them a lot of the time. You're instead going to be facing destroyers that you see in the background over there. So, and with this reload, you are just continuously going to be out reloaded by a lot of those machines, and they'll be able to do way more damage to you than you can do to them. So maybe somebody can explain to me why this thing is at the BR it's at. It's probably because of the fact that they don't want it to face too low of vehicles in naval battles, and it to bully a lot of them since it can hull break a lot of patrol boats. But let's be honest, this vehicle over here, this British either 4.3 or 4.7 destroyer, which is something you will constantly see in this thing, will get absolutely mullered by it, right? So you will, what I mean is the British destroyer will destroy this thing without even, you know, thinking about it with its firepower that it has. So I just don't know. I don't know why this is here. I'm very confused. Against submarines in the future, maybe it'll have a piece of the action. Maybe it'll be able to deal with the onslaught of a bunch of the stuff that's turning up. But in the meantime, you will research it and then you'll be like, why am I here? Just to suffer? As always, I hope you have a wonderful day. And I'll see you next time.
I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.